The boy who hacked into the Pentagon. A young boy was playing a hacker game on his personal computer when he accidentally accessed the Pentagon's remote control system. He had managed to get into one of the most secure networks in the world. This wasn't some teenager with malicious intent. It was just a curious kid who liked playing video games. But what he found was beyond anything he could have imagined. He had access to top-secret information. He saw satellite maps of the world, global surveillance signals, and even missile warning systems. It was like a real-life version of the hacker game he was playing, but this wasn't a game. It was the United States military's top-secret network. He only had 6 minutes of access before he was disconnected. But in that short time, he had seen enough to know that this was no accident. Someone, somewhere wanted him to see this. But why? Who was behind it, and what did they want? These questions raced through his mind as he tried to figure out what had happened. Then the phone rang. It was the FBI. They had traced his IP address to his home, and they were on their way. He tried to hide the computer, but it was too late. In less than 45 minutes, agents were standing at his front door. They had a search warrant, and they were there to seize his computer. The boy's heart raced as he watched them enter his house and carry out their investigation. He knew that he had done nothing wrong, but he couldn't help but feel a sense of dread. He realized the gravity of the situation. The boy had stumbled upon something he wasn't supposed to see. But what would happen now? What would the government do with this information? And how would his life be affected? As the agents continued their investigation, the boy could only hope that everything would work out in the end. But as the days passed, he began to realize the full extent of what had happened. His name was Jack, and he was just an ordinary kid who loved playing video games. But his life would never be the same again. The incident had made national news, and his face was plastered across every newspaper and TV screen. He had become a celebrity of sorts, the boy who hacked the Pentagon. But he didn't do it on purpose. He had no malicious intent. He was just curious. But in a world where everything was digital, curiosity could be dangerous. Jack's story became a cautionary tale, a reminder that in the age of technology, privacy was a thing of the past. The government launched an investigation to find out how Jack had managed to access the secure network. It was a major embarrassment, and they were determined to find the source of the leak. But the investigation yielded no results. They couldn't find anyone who had given Jack access to the network. It was a ghost. Jack's life was turned upside down. He was interviewed by the media, questioned by the government, and scrutinized by the public. But through it all, he remained calm and collected. He knew that he had done nothing wrong, and he was confident that the truth would come out. As the months passed, the story began to fade from the headlines. But for Jack, the impact was long-lasting. He became known as the boy who hacked the Pentagon, a label that he wore with pride. But it also came with a certain amount of notoriety. Jack was just an ordinary kid who had an extraordinary experience. He was a reminder that in the age of technology, no one was safe from the prying eyes of the government. But he was also a hero, a modern-day hacker who had exposed the vulnerabilities of the most powerful military in the world, and as he looked to the future, he knew that he would never forget his brush with fame. It was a story that had captured the imagination of the world, the boy who hacked the Pentagon. A young kid with a curious mind had managed to breach one of the most secure networks in the world. It was a feat that had stunned the nation and raised questions about the state of cybersecurity. But it was also a story about courage, the courage of a young boy who had stood up to the establishment and won. Jack had become a symbol of hope for many, a beacon of light in a world that seemed to be shrouded in darkness. As the story of the boy who hacked the Pentagon continued to make headlines around the world, one thing was clear. Jack's name would go down in history as the kid who dared to challenge the mighty and won. His story was a testament to the power of the human spirit, the unquenchable thirst for knowledge, and the courage to stand up for what is right. Whether he was a hacker, a hero, or just a curious kid, one thing was certain: Jack's story was far from over. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more such interesting stories.